Hello, good evening, and welcome to Camnet Television News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Today, on Wednesday, the 7th of June 2023. Our top stories in the news tonight: the state urged to take former President Edgar Lungu's political advisor to court. A witness tells the court that Francis Munchemwa, a PF supporter, was on a ZESCO payroll. Patriotic Front members of Parliament walk out of Parliament protesting over police arrests. In international news, Rwanda genocide suspect Felicien KABUGA declared unfit to stand trial. And in sports news, Copper Queens taking World Cup preparatory match against the TWIGA Stars of Tanzania seriously.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RWANDA, your smart irrigation partner.
Hello again, the news in detail. The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR, says the cost of living for a family of 5, as measured by the Basic Needs and Nutrition Basket (BNNB) for the month of May 2023 in Lusaka, reduced by 34.67 kwacha. JCTR's Social and Economic Development Program Officer Akila Ngonga says the basket moved from 9,112 kwacha to about 9,077 kwacha. Mr. Ngonga says the downward movement can be attributed to price decreases in food items such as 3.6 liters of cooking oil, 14 kilograms of other fruits and 16 kilograms of bananas. But some traders at Kaunda Square Market say the price of commodities have never reduced due to the high prices of transport, hence challenging the government to further consider lowering the price of fuel. More in this report.
The high exchange rate, coupled with the high prices of fuel, has continued to put pressure on the Zambian economy, which has resulted in the high prices of essential foods, goods, and services. According to the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, the Basic Need and Nutrition Basket for the month of May 2023 in Lusaka reduced by 24.67 kwacha from 9,112 kwacha to 9,077 kwacha.
Basic Needs and Nutrition Basket for the month of May 2023 in Lusaka stood at 9,077.93 kwacha. In comparison to the recorded figure of 9,102.60 kwacha in April 2023, this signifies a decrease of 34.67 kwacha. The basket's downward movement can be attributed to price decreases in food items such as 3.6 liters of cooking oil, which dropped by 51.72 kwacha from 162.20 kwacha to 110.48 kwacha, 14 kilograms of other fruits, which dropped by 47.43 kwacha.
But a check at Kaunda Square Stage 1 Market has shown that the prices of most food items are still very high, which is affecting many businesses.
300, 45. Where ilmo 80, 250. Up ilmo 100, 400. Nuts ilmo 60, 230. Banana ilmo 90, 185.
What? Aka 30, aka 40, aka 50. In 270, aka 150. Rice, akaka 10, akaka 20, akaka 30, akaka 40.
The traders have since called on the government to consider lowering the cost of fuel, which they say has been a major contributing factor to the hike in transport fares, which they say is the reason why most food items have still remained high despite the reduction in some prices.
Reorder, baleda ndawula kali transport. Kwe bati transport ili high. Deti bati te manage. So ba government nga batwafuishe ko fuel yabwera maybe kutufya bako bwira tuodere tuleoda ku government maybe kutufya namba kutuleoda ku bantu baneso bale bomfya ma transport tibachipisha shani
so amayegi aya turashita 50 kwacha 3 namba fwe bakushitisha warasha kalishinga so batulolekeshe ko mboye ba government ngabe kwa abantu balabaleta amayegi batukweseshe nabena balela ngati feed na ifo ya ditu ngaifo kututwabwesha shani ero plus fuel yakuleta nayo bali rumba.
For now, government has to find a way of quickly addressing the high exchange rate, high fuel prices, and the high inflation rate, which has remained above the target range if it is to lower the cost of living. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government has granted STARLINK, a satellite internet service provider owned by SpaceX, an operation license to operate in Zambia. Speaking during the launch Wednesday, Science and Technology Minister Felix Mutati says the coming of STARLINK will improve internet connectivity and bridge the digital divide in the country. And Smart Zambia National Coordinator Percy Chinyama believes the move will help in boosting connectivity and access to information for millions of Zambians who have long been underserved. More in this report.
In the era where the world is a global village, thanks to technology, the need to create an inclusive and equitable internet for all, especially for the disadvantaged groups such as citizens in rural and peri-urban areas, people living with disabilities, women and girls, cannot be ignored. In the quest to bridge the digital divide that exists in the various parts of the country, Minister of Science and Technology Felix Mutati believes time is now to utilize the social and economic benefits of technology that serves the need of citizens effectively and diligently. Mr. Mutati was speaking during the granting of an operation license to STARLINK, a satellite internet service provider owned by SpaceX.
We have to deliver government services to the doorstep, to our people. When we're delivering CDF, let it be delivered at the doorstep. When we're delivering social cash transfer, let it be delivered at the doorstep. Youth empowerment must be delivered at the doorstep, including FELICIEN. Now the platform that you need to use to deliver that.
Presidential Delivery Unit Head Kusobile Kamwambi underscored the need to use technology to spur development.
Everything relies on ICTs. Using ICT, our farmers, individuals, businesses can connect even with global markets. We're happy to see that some of our students that have gone online, even in the rural areas, are able to access scholarships online that are only available online, information which they could never otherwise have had access to if they did not have connectivity. So this is a big one for us. We are able to connect it to almost all the presidential priorities. ICT is a key enabler.
Meanwhile, Smart Zambia National Coordinator Percy Chinyama believes technology development will help to boost connectivity and access to information for millions of Zambians.
Today, proudly would like to announce that we have issued what we call a network license in the international market segment for data.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Third Liberation Movement President Enoch Tonga has charged that President Hakainde Hichilema is not sincere for calling on the opposition political parties to provide alternative policies, charging that they are not ready to listen to advice. Speaking with Camnet TV News, Mr. Tonga claims that if the current government is genuine about fighting corruption, they would have implemented his recommendation to make graft a non-bailable offense. He has since doubted the government's commitment to fight corruption. More in this report.
Corruption is a cancer that continues to undermine Zambia's social and economic development, and successive governments have in the past prescribed various solutions, but to no avail. And it is now the time for the governing United Party for National Development, UPND, to make attempts. Most officials who served under the Patriotic Front administration continue to be targeted in the fight against corruption, given that they were administrators of national resources before the current rulers. But many governance actors continue to raise concerns that the UPND government has not yet secured any prominent conviction ever since it started arresting and taking people to court for corrupt practices. And Third Liberation Movement President Enoch Tonga has doubted government's commitment to fight corruption.
Sadly, the mining sector, which is the bedroom of the Republic of Zambia, has been left into the hands of foreigners. Foreigners' interest is to make profit and take whatever they make outside the nation. Zambia remains poor. The way out is to ensure that we organize, bring our own people, indigenous companies, Zambians, privately so, to run these mines, because we know that once they build on profit, these Zambian-owned institutions will build right here in the Republic of Zambia. So we cannot trust foreigners. We must trust our own people with a bedroom, that is the mines, the minerals which God has given us. We must use our own people. That is the way to go.
He has charged that it is illogical for President Hakainde Hichilema to call on the opposition political parties to provide alternative policies when they seem to be uninterested to listen to divergent views.
It's laughable. It would be, how can I call it, a crime, an unforgivable crime, if ever Zambia was to think of PF again. And it's not even correct for an individual to talk about PF. You are born, the next thing is exiting, death follows. And that's the principle of life. PF existed at some point. They were given an opportunity to run the affairs of the Republic of Zambia. What is it that they did? Nothing. Enriching themselves, confusion, corruption. And they were kicked out. And who would think like that? You would be wrong to go back to your vomits. So in a summary form, do not ever think of bringing back EDGAR LUNGU'S PF organization into public office. Doing so will be hanging ourselves as a nation. We must look ahead and identify the new leadership, and that is the Third Liberation Movement and Nicholas Tonga.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
ZESCO Limited says it was losing a sum of 42,000 United States dollars annually to a named Indian company whose system was being used to process ZESCO's payroll. Speaking at the launch of the digital transformation platform in Lusaka Wednesday, ZESCO Managing Director Victor Mapani says the digital platform has allowed the company to save huge sums of money as well as allow the smooth flow of operations at the company. Meanwhile, Smart Zambia National Coordinator Percy Chinyama says the world is moving towards the digital space, adding that digital transformation can transform the Zambian economy if well harnessed. More in this report.
ZESCO, Zambia's power utility company, had been losing a sum of 42,000 United States dollars annually to a named Indian company whose system it had been using for many years to process its payroll.
Then he asked me a question to say, so our foreigners have our salaries, isn't it? So I said, yes, they have. Okay, so how much was this payroll system? I said it was about $452,000. And any changes which happens, what happens to it? Do they charge you? I said, yes, we have a yearly fee. We support and maintenance, it's about $42,000. And if there's an enhancement, you pay something like $10,000, $20,000.
This loss, however, came to an end in December of 2022 when the new managing director, Victor Mapani, directed that the company, working with Smart Zambia, should come up with its own system that will allow for the company's payroll to be processed locally, thereby employing more Zambian people.
In January 2022, ZESCO aggressively embarked on a digital transformation journey. And the first one that came through was I refused to be paid from a payroll which was being managed by someone from India. seated in a nice office in India, and then receiving all our hard-earned money in its forex form. And so I tasked Frank and team that we are going to change this and we're going to do it.
The MD, who spoke at the launch of the digital transformation platform in Lusaka Wednesday, says he is happy that the system has finally come to life and says it has improved the operations of the company as well as helped ZESCO save resources.
Check, for example, if there's any movement at all in the organization, even when a general worker is transferred, I'll receive a notification. I'll know exactly which person, where they are going and how they are going. And if there are queries, I would ask, but why is this person moving? There was an incident where there was a wholesome promotion of people. Somehow, over 100 people were promoted in 1 month. And I just sent a query saying, how did this happen? Was this digitally done? And then I was told, no, letters were done. I said, reverse them. And I click of a button, reversed all the transformation, all the promotions, which were mostly just based on leniency or this one favors this.
In Smart Zambia National Coordinator Percy Chinyama, who was present at the meeting, wants to see Zambia dive more into the technological space, adding that many countries that have invested in technologies, such as Singapore, have a stronger economy despite not having natural resources.
What ZESCO has done is that it has just moved with the times. And this is how it should be. Moving with the times. So I am very happy with this development that has happened in your company, MD.
Digital transformation increases efficiency and productivity while offering better customer experience and satisfaction. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
Zambia has called for global support toward actualizing development in human settlements. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Gary Nkombo, who is in Kenya, attending the second session of the United Nations UN Habitat Assembly, says he has given a report to the summit on the milestone that Zambia has made for itself, as well as some of the successes made in making the cities safe. The minister, however, says the country expects the global community to support Zambia in developing clear strategies of fostering global and regional synergies and addressing the growing urban drift and unplanned settlements. Meanwhile, Minister of Infrastructure Charles Milupi says the UN Habitat Assembly is an important platform for Zambia to interact with and attract potential investors to leverage government policy on public-private partnership models.
We have 1 billion people that are housed in slums, and there is need to upgrade those slums. And we think that by 2030, if nothing is done, the figures we get out of the United Nations through a conference like this figure will rise to 6 billion. And yet, really to house people in the modern times requires that we have decent housing where children can grow and learn. So we are here really as a Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development to learn what other nations have done, what the United Nations intends to do, and also to be able to discuss our own issues.
I've given a report to the summit. We have given a report and given a status of the milestones that Zambia has set for itself, as well as achievements towards making cities and human settlements safe and inclusive. And some of the things that we shared here is the mainstreaming of the new urban agenda and the Sustainable Development Goal number 8, which we have achieved as a country at 80% and also embedded in the 8th National Development Plan.
A chief accountant at ZESCO, Helen Kalumbi, 47, has testified before Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chibweli that Patriotic Front sympathizer Francis MUNCHEMWA, popularly known as Commander 2, was a bona fide employee of ZESCO in 2020. Ms. Kalumbi, in cross-examination, testified that the 141,400 kwacha paid to MUNCHEMWA in form of allowances was authorized by the senior management at the power utility company. This is in a matter in which Mr. Munchemwa is jointly charged with 2 others with 10 charges of money laundering related charges. The trio is facing 10 counts of possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime and failure to comply with the provisions of the Income Tax Act. More in this report.
A chief accountant at ZESCO, Helen Kalumbi, 47, has testified before Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chibwidi that Patriotic Front sympathizer Francis Munchemwa, popularly known as Commander 2, was a bona fide employee of ZESCO in 2020. In her testimony, Ms. Kalumbi testifies that 141,400 kwacha was paid to Mr. Munchemwa in 2020 for allowances, citing that he was employed at the power utility firm in the Department of Security, which at the time was called Legal Directorate. In cross-examination, Ms. Kalumbi explains that the subsistence allowances were authorized by senior management at ZESCO. Meanwhile, a senior accountant at Lusaka City Council, Moses Piri, 39, testifies that in 2020, the council collected revenue below the expected budget from intercity bus terminus. He explains the main revenue streams at the bus station are bus registration, rentals, and gate fees. Mr. Piri testifies before Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chibwidi that between September 2021 and September 2022, the revenue began to increase. The witness, with the use of graphs, explained that 18 million kwacha was amassed in 2021 between September as revenue from gate fees at intercity bus terminals, compared to 14 million kwacha in 2020 due to the pronouncement to remove cadres from bus stations. The state witness, in his testimony, indicates that after the removal of the alleged Patriotic Front cadres from the bus station, revenue streams increased but could not identify the accused. As the graphical testimony elapses, a quantity surveyor, Chereshendazie, 32, testified that in November 2022, she carried out a site visit in order to ascertain the cost of various properties owned by the accused, which were under investigation by the Anti-Corruption Commission, SCC. In her testimony, Ms. Ndaze investigated a 4-bedroom dwelling house, 2-guest apartment with 3-story building, kitchen, laundry, bar, an office, swimming pool, guardhouse, and incomplete structures at floor slab level, another at ring beam level. She says the total cost of the properties is about 10.8 million kwacha. In this matter, Mr. Munchemwa is jointly charged with 2 others with 10 charges of money laundering related charges. The trio is facing 10 counts of possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime and failure to comply with the provisions of the Income Tax Act. It is alleged that Munchemwa, popularly known as Commander 2, between January 1st, 2020 and August 31st, 2021 in Lusaka, dishonestly obtained a pecuniary advantage in the sum of 141,400 kwacha in the form of subsistence allowances from ZESCO Limited on the pretext that he undertook official trips when in fact not. Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chibwidi has adjourned the matter to Thursday, 8th June 2023. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Independent Lumezi Member of Parliament Munia Zulu has been reported to court in a matter he is alleged to have defamed Minister of Finance Dr. Stumbekom Sokotwane and Minister of Infrastructure Charles Milupi and the Road Development Agency Board Chairperson Mauchand Kuntawala. This came to light when the matter came up before allocation, to which Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chibwili allocated the case to himself. The Lumezi lawmaker is facing 3 counts of libel defamation. In count 1 and 2, it is alleged that on the 21st of March 2023, Mr. Zulu published defamatory matters against Dr. Stumbekom Sokotwane and Charles Milupi by way of a press conference in which he alleged that the 2 ministers corruptly received money amounting to $250,000 each through a bank transfer from an unknown company. In the 3rd count, Mr. Zulu is alleged to have published defamatory matters in which he alleged that Mauchand Kuntawala corruptly sent money amounting to $150,000 to Mr. Charles Milupi 2 days before the appointment as board chairman for the Road Development Agency, RDA. You're watching Camnet Television Main News. We'll take our first commercial break. Join us for more news after the break.
In our quest to serve nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, chew me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Members of Parliament from the opposition Patriotic Front Tuesday afternoon walked out of Parliament in protest against what they termed as vindictive arrests and prolonged detentions. Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Mundobile, led Patriotic Front members of Parliament in a press conference where he expressed displeasure over the continued arrests. He says they are not against arrests, but the manner in which they are being arrested. He alleges that police officers are getting instructions from State House to effect arrests on PF lawmakers.
This country is slowly sliding into a police state, where the police are the law unto themselves. The police are given instructions straight from State House on how to harass these honorable members of Parliament. And we know the scheme. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what is going on. The President of this Republic, President Hakainde Hichilema, intends to instill fear in these members of Parliament because attempts have been made to try and get them on the UPND side. These honorable members that you are seeing here, countrymen and women, are honorable members. These are citizens that have stood by you, the voters, and have voted to continue providing checks and balances in this country. So when they've been unable to attract the attention of these honorable members, they've resorted to intimidation and persecution. So today's protest, the walking out of Parliament, was to send a message, firstly to the Minister of Home Affairs, that we will not stand idle and allow our members to be harassed in the manner that the police have continued to do. This is also a warning to the Inspector General of Police. Act within the law. Act with respect. The people that you are seeing here are members of parliament, elected members of parliament. Each one of these have got over 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people that voted for them. They therefore cannot be treated in the manner that you, Inspector General of Police, have continued to act. There were recent reports that police intend to train some of their staff. Our recommendation as members of parliament is that we start with the top command, because so far the police have been very disappointing in the manner that they've handled the police matters. We want to appeal to you, Inspector General of Police, ensure that your top command are fully trained to even understand the ways in which members of parliament or elected members of parliament should be treated.
Advocates for National Development and Democracy Executive Director Samuel Banda is saddened by the continued incarceration of former President Edgar Lungu's political advisor, Dr. Chris Zumani Zimba, for over a week without presenting him to the court of law. Mr. Banda has therefore demanded that Dr. Chris Zimba be taken to court. He says that President Hakainde Hichilema has been very consistent in demanding that law enforcement agencies should only effect arrests after investigations and give bail to those entitled to bail. And Mr. Banda called on politicians, civil society organizations and the church to work together in the interest of developing the country for the betterment of every citizen of Zambia. He has since called on the courts of law to expedite the hearing of criminal cases to ensure justice for both the accused persons and the state.
Profoundly saddened by the continued incarceration of former State House political advisor, Dr. Zimba, for more than a week, about 10 days now, without the police presenting him to the courts of law. We believe this is against the principles of the rule of law. It is actually an abuse of human rights. We understand that the offense for which Mr. Zimba has been charged was bailable in 2020, and it was amended in 2023. We are aware that the police are alleging Mr. Zimba and others committed some offenses, alleging that they committed some offenses in 2020 when the law was bailable. Now, our view is that the law which was made in 2023 cannot be retrospectively applied on the case which were allegedly committed in 2020 and make them non-bailable. President Hakainde Hichilema has been consistently demanding from the law enforcement agencies that they should avoid detaining people or suspects for more than the required time. Therefore, our appeal to the police is that they should present Dr. Zimba to the courts of law and avoid detaining people for more than the required time. We further advise the police to ensure that they apply the rule of law fairly.
The Zambian government has pledged its commitment to supporting the economic integration of the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, and the African region. Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mulenga, says to this effect, Zambia is promoting the creation of regional value chains in order to support value addition to the continent's vast resources. He explained that to achieve this, Zambia is establishing initiatives with its neighboring countries such as Zimbabwe and the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, aimed at contributing to regional cooperation and integration in different value chain sectors. Mr. Mulenga was speaking in Lusaka today during the 16th COMESA Business Forum hosted by the COMESA Business Council. Mr. Mulenga, however, explained that the initiatives will not only benefit the three countries, but will enhance intra-Africa free trade and investments through COMESA and the African Continental Free Trade Area by promoting value addition and integration in mineral endowments of the continent. He added that this is why there is a need for concerted efforts from all governments in the African region to promote the shared economic prosperity by providing a conducive business environment supported by a strong policy framework for the private sector to thrive. He further commended the COMESA Business Council and the business community at large for the commitment shown in fostering trade and investment within the region, adding that the forum creates a platform for countries to explore opportunities and facilitate regional integration. Meanwhile, COMESA Business Council President Madei Vankatasamy has called on COMESA member states to increase the training levels within the region. Mr. Vankatasamy expressed concern that intra-COMESA trade has continued to be low at about 12.7 billion United States dollars. This is Camnet Television News. We'll take a second and final break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Now in international news, UN war crimes judges ruled that aging Rwandan genocide suspect Felicien KABUGA is unfit to stand trial but should still go through a stripped-down legal process in a decision announced Wednesday. KABUGA, who is 88 according to officials but claims to be 90, is a former tycoon accused of setting up a hate broadcast that fueled the 1994 slaughter of around 800,000 people. KABUGA went on trial in The Hague in September last year, but judges said medical experts had now found that he had severe dementia and could not take part properly in court. The International Residual Mechanism for Criminal Tribunals said in an order that it therefore finds that Mr. KABUGA is not fit for trial and is very unlikely to regain fitness in the future. Judges said they wanted to adopt an alternative finding procedure that resembles a trial as closely as possible, but without the possibility of a conviction. We monitored African news for more in international news.
Rwandan genocide suspect Felicien KABUGA has been declared unfit to stand trial by the UN war crimes judges, saying he had severe dementia and could not take a stand properly. The 88-year-old is accused of setting up a hate broadcaster that fueled the 1994 slaughter of around 800,000 people. The International Residual Mechanism for Criminal Tribunals said in an order that it therefore finds that Mr. KABUGA is not fit for trial and is very unlikely to regain fitness in the future. Judges say they wanted to adopt an alternative finding procedure that resembles a trial as closely as possible, but without the possibility of a conviction.
Kenya's Finance Bill of 2023 has a raft of proposals that intend to expand the country's tax bracket. One of the controversial proposals aims at subjecting income earned through digital content monetization to a 15% withholding tax. Eric Omondi, a renowned comedian, is leading content creators in opposing the proposal.
Do not attempt, do not think, do not try to tax youths, and especially online media. Do not tax content creators, because you did not create them, you did not support them, you don't know who they are, you don't know their struggles, you have never talked to them, you have never called them, you've never supported them, you want to tax them. That is theft. You cannot take money that does not belong to you.
The content creators decry that the proposed tax is too high for a growing digital economy, given that they get minimal government support in content creation.
What we earn on YouTube or other social media platforms cannot cater for our needs. So when the government comes in and says that they want to tax 15% from it, it means that they are leaving us on a negative side.
Economists also indicate that if approved, the proposal will have major effects on the income earned by individual content creators and the growth of the entire digital economy.
One of the irony in this digital service tax is levying a withholding of 15% on it. And remember, this is just a withholding tax. Withholding tax is not final. So again, the digital content creators will be expected to do their books at the end of the year to show how much they earned. In other words, after you've paid 15%, you'll still be expected to pay what is called a final tax.
The finance bill will be tabled in Parliament this Thursday, and the focus now will turn on the members of Parliament to see whether they will pass it or reject it.
The joint committee assigned by the Libyan Parliament and the High Council of State 6+6 to prepare electoral laws have signed agreement ahead of the planned 2023 legislative and presidential elections. The signing took place Tuesday during a meeting in Buznika, a resort city south of the Moroccan capital, Rabat. We succeeded in signing agreements on the legislative and presidential laws with the agreement of all the members of the Commission, and we hope that this step will be beneficial for the stability of Libya, which will make it possible to organize legislative and presidential elections this year. The meeting of the Joint Committee in Morocco is the first of its kind to take place outside Libyan territory, but delegates confirmed that the committee was not subjected to pressure or interference from Morocco or from abroad. The work was satisfactory. It took into consideration the opinions of all the parties, resulting in a consensus of all members. We are very satisfied and proud with what we have achieved for the country and the Libyan people, and we are interested to see the people have their say and express their will through the elections. The Joint Committee was formed in March by 12 members from the Libyan House of Representatives and the High State Council. Libya has seen little peace since the 2011 NATO-backed uprising that toppled Muammar Gaddafi.
It's now time for sports news. The Zambia women's national team captain Barbara Banda has described the Tanzania friendly match slated for Sunday as crucial in determining the shape of the team. The Copper Queens captain is confident that the match against the TWIGA Stars of Tanzania is key in building momentum, especially that the team is bound for the 2023 FIFA World Cup to be held in Australia and New Zealand between 20th July and August 2023. The Copper Queens skipper was speaking during a preparatory training at Lusaka's Edwin Imbwaela Stadium. After the friendly against Tanzania on Sunday at Woodland Stadium, the Chipolo Polo will proceed to Germany for an international camp.
It's going on so well. Everyone is lady, and the team, the morale in the is very high. I think we have competition in the front. And the number that we have, I think it's a good number for everyone to show to the coach what they are capable of doing. It's very important because Tanzania is not an easy team to beat. I think we'll have a good line with them. So it will give us the insight of where we are going to other friendly games, where we are going in Germany. I think that's the most important games that we are going for as in terms of preparing for the World Cup, because looking at the team, Germany is not a small team. So I think we have to prepare adequately and we have to be ready for them.
My only message would be they should come in numbers to support and see how we'll perform, because it's always good to have like a lot of fans at your home ground. It gives morale, and the team is always motivated if fans come in numbers to support. So I would urge everyone to find time and come to support us, the city.
I'm so happy and excited because it's our first time to the World Cup, and the way we are preparing and the morale with everyone, it's motivating. I need to continue with the same performance and do extra, because in the World Cup, that's a tournament, it's not a league, whereby I don't have time to come back, I have to go with full force. Again, with the team, with the help of the team, it will be more easy. Yeah, we are working on that angles, and I'm sure by the time we play this Sunday, you'll see the change in the team. It's very important because we have to know how we have prepared, because World Cup is not easy. It's not an easy task, so we have to know where we are lacking so that we work on it.
On that Copper Queen's note, we come to the end of our news tonight. Before we go, the headlines once again. The state urged to take former President Edgar Lungu's political advisor to court. A witness tells the court that Francis MUNCHEMWA, a PF supporter, was on a ZESCO payroll. Patriotic Front members of Parliament walk out of Parliament protesting over police arrests. In international news, Rwanda genocide suspect FELICIEN KABUGA declared unfit to stand trial. And in sports news, Copper Queens taking World Cup preparatory match against TWIGA Stars of Tanzania seriously. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from John 15, verse 13. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Thank you again for watching Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.